Hello friends, welcome to Punneit Astrology, your one-stop astro channel, and I am here again with the second episode on my House Lords through House series, and today we will discuss about first house lord going into the second house, the Dhan Sthan. So stay tuned till the end of the video to know more about this particular position of the ascendant lord when the ascendant lord falls in the second house. But before that, do not forget to hit the like, subscribe and share the video among your family and friends. And do not forget to hit the bell icon because I'm going to upload lot more videos, and if you click the bell icon you will get notifications from YouTube when I will upload a video. So that is very important to stay connected. So subscribe, stay connected. Now, what happens when the first house lord goes into the second house? Now you know first house, that means your ascendant or lagna is your own personality. It is physically who you are, and it represents most of the physical feature that you carry right now in this birth, and it defines the very reason why you are born. Second house is known as Dhan Sthan because it rules the second house, which is the house of bank balance, the deposits or the karmic deposits that you have in this life. Also, it rules your family, and it also shows what values you carry in this life and what speech do you give, how you speak, and it is also how you eat and what you eat. Second house is the mouth portion of the body, and therefore it defines whatever happens in this particular area of the body. So what happens when the first house lord goes into the second house? You have to now carefully understand the position of the first lord. Obviously, the first lord is second from itself. Now, because this house is related to wealth, therefore, your focus will be obviously towards wealth, values, security, family, blood relations, food, and speech and communication. So, when the first house lord goes into the second house, remember, wherever the first house lord will go, you will try to find or establish your identity through that properties of the house where it is placed. So when the first house lord goes into the second house, you are going to establish your identity in this world through the properties of the second house, and you have to carefully understand what is the second house. The most important thing, we have often heard that apart from Dhan Bhav, second house is known as Marak Sthan. Now let me explain you why second house is known as Marak Sthan. There are two factors to it. Number one, you are very far away from your own home. If ascendant is your own home, and when you move to the second house, you are farthest away from your home. It sounds funny, it sounds silly because the planet has moved only one house ahead, that is in the second house. But do you realize that to reach his own house, that means the ascendant, he has to travel the entire horoscope? He has to travel all 11 zodiac, reach the 12th house, and then he will be able to go back to the first house unless he is retrograde, and that too, it is a virtual retrogression. In reality, the planet never moves in that zodiac, that means a reverse motion. You can say it is possible in case of Rahu, but Rahu only co-rules Aquarius. Saturn's energy dominates that zodiac. So, being in the second house, you are actually farthest away from your own identity, and therefore, being in the second house shows that you may sacrifice your own happiness and wealth for your family, for your relatives, for the near and dear ones, for your own values, and this also means that you would love to keep your words, and you will not want to betray anybody when you have committed a promise, and therefore it behaves as a kind of a commit. It gives you a committed personality. Totally depends whether it is under positive influence. If it is negative influence, the reverse of it will happen. That means the negative side of these properties will reflect. Also, if a planet is in second house, if your ascendant lord is in second house, it is directly aspecting the 8th house with the 7th aspect, and you know every planet have 7th aspect. So when planet is directly watching the 8th house, which is the house of death and sudden ups and downs, it's you. Remember, if it is ascendant lord, it's you who is watching the house of death, and therefore you come very close to the energy of the 8th house, and because of that 8th house energy starts influencing. It's like standing in front of fire, so you will feel the heat. So a planet in the 2nd house, you cannot say that it's perfectly okay, although it forms a dhan bhav, but you have to understand which planet it is. You will start speaking a lot of things about the properties and the attributes of the 2nd house, the planet with which it falls. And if you have a Sagittarius ascendant, the problem is that if Jupiter moves into the 2nd house, Jupiter becomes debilitated. And therefore, when Jupiter moves into the 2nd house, you may have problems related to speech, you may have problems related to communication or relaying the knowledge that and wisdom that you carry. And that is where the planet who rules the 1st house defines how it is going to behave in the 2nd house. Imagine you have Cancer ascendant and you have Moon in the 2nd house. Therefore, Moon becomes burnt because Moon goes into the zodiac of Leo. So from a very softer and tender ascendant, he moves into a hot zone, a kingly zone, where the anger becomes very high and you may be very egoistic in your speech, very influential in your speech. Now, if you have Saturn ruling in the 1st house, and if Saturn goes into the 2nd house, Saturn takes care of the finances, you become very conservative, you speak very orthodox, and you talk of discipline. So and if Mars is the 1st house lord, and if Mars goes into the 2nd house, then it totally defines on which zodiac it is. Because if you are Aries ascendant, Mars will go into Taurus, and therefore it will have Venusian characteristics. And if you have Scorpio ascendant, then Mars will go into the sign of Sagittarius, which has a Jupiterian aspect. So you can see that just by movement into the 2nd house, one thing is for sure, that you are definitely going to focus on the generic attributes of the 2nd house. But how it will be expressed and to what extent it will be expressed will depend upon which zodiac it is, the tattvic difference of the zodiac, and what nakshatra does it fall. Also, you have to see the navamsha of the planet falling into the 2nd house, because as soon as the planet moves into the 2nd house, you have to identify to what degree it is, because if it is, again the same concept comes, if a planet is at a degree in the 2nd house equal or closer to the degree of ascendant, then again that planet becomes very powerful because he performs at a peak level in the 2nd house. So that also comes into picture. Now one more concept comes when the 1st house lord goes into the 2nd house and forms a real dhan yoga. If that happens, then it definitely will give you a lot of money, a lot of power, positivity will come through your voice, and this definitely means that you will be helping a lot of people by giving them a lot of suggestions. If you have an affliction in the 2nd house, like for example, you have a debilitated Jupiter along with Rahu, or you have a Moon falling into the 2nd house having a Saturn conjunction Venus with Rahu. If you have any kind of affliction, which obviously has to be understood after reading your own horoscope, then you must be, first of all, be very careful of any addiction. Number 2, be very careful with the food that you intake. Number 3, you will have a problem with the thyroid, so you have to be very careful with the mouth and the neck area. And number 4, you should not curse. Never curse, because it is going to come back to you. In any way it is bad, but especially if the 2nd house is afflicted by the 1st house lord, then definitely, because 1st house is going into the 2nd house, and whatever you do with the 2nd house is going to impact your 1st house. It will come late because it will travel the entire zodiac. But whatever you do today, you speak today, maybe 4-5 years later or maybe 10 years later, will hit you in the exact same way. So be very careful and talk positive. And if you have 2nd house affliction, chant as much mantra as you can of the planet who rules the 2nd house. Now, by any chance, it may also happen that the 2nd house lord is also in enmity with the 1st house being placed. For example, if 2nd house lord is in the, say, 6th house, or 2nd house lord is in the, say, 7th house, the 1st house lord and the 2nd house lord will form a Shadashtak Yoga. So then the enmity will again come into picture, and this may happen. This may create some sort of issues, totally depending upon where the 2nd house lord is placed. So you can see hundreds of factors can come into play when you just move a planet from 1st to 2nd. A lot of things has to be seen. but on the basic level, the basic architecture is the planet is definitely going to be very concerned about the resources, money, family, wealth, food, finances, and whatever he can have in his bank balance and whatever he can collect in his life. He can either become a collector, that means one who collects a lot of things in his life, or he can become a spendthrift, totally depending upon what kind of placement the second house lord carries. So guys, that was a brief analysis of the first house lord going into the second house, and this series will continue. A lot more videos coming soon. Do not forget to hit like, subscribe and share, and hit the bell icon. Subscription and bell icon is the way you will be getting notified when I will upload another video. More videos coming soon apart from this series. Lot more videos will come soon as usual. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching Puneit's Astrology. This is your host Puneet. Thank you.